Gasoline versus electric. Which one have I used? Which one do I prefer? And what do I recommend? Coming up. What is going on, YouTube? It is Mr. Ferguson back with you once again here from Central North Carolina. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I appreciate it. We are still cold. It is cold out here right now, so we are not going to linger on and blab. We're going to get to the video, get you some content out there, something to entertain you, something to think about, something to talk about in these down months. As you can see behind me, as I step out of the frame here, you can see just the haze over the lawn, the fescue here. We're still in that dormancy period. No mowing necessary, need to be done, very, very little growth. And so because of that, we're talking about our equipment today. There is a very good video that I thought, in my opinion, that Alan Hain did about spreaders. If you haven't seen it, check it out. If you're looking to buy a spreader anytime soon, he breaks down the Scotts spreaders versus more upper scale spreaders, and I thought it was a great content video, and it got me thinking about equipment. And so I wanted to talk about electric versus gas powered weed eaters, because that's the only thing I can really compare and give you my opinion on. So let me know below, are you a fan? Before we ever talk about any of this, and we're not going to go into too much depth, I just want to relay my opinion on what I've experienced with using electric versus using gasoline. And in that case, we're talking about weed eaters here. But let me know in the comments what you prefer, what you have, what you're considering, maybe some things you may have picked up during the Christmas or the holiday season that you're going to be trying. There's Ego is out there. They're making a big push in the lithium battery and the electric lawn equipment tools. So let me know if any of you purchased that. I've actually, I didn't bring my blower up here, but it is a gas mix, the oil and gasoline mix. It is fuel driven. It is not electric. But we'll get into some of the pros and cons. But I've been looking at those Egos. I know Pete's talked about it. He put some together as a video on one of his channels, or on his channel. And I used my brother. He had one, a Cobalt, which I think is the off-brand at Lowe's, if I'm not mistaken. And that thing was super light, and I was like, oh my gosh. So the weight of it compared to mine, I was immediately blown away. And the blowing power wasn't bad, and I think he said it was $100, and I was like, So I was trying to finagle some of that for Christmas. I still got some Christmas money, but I haven't went there yet. But just quickly getting into this video, when we first started, when we first moved into my house, you guys know I'm prior military. And so when we first moved into our house, I was still doing deployments. I'd already been on one deployment to Iraq. When I came back, I got married. The honeymoon night, that's when Natalie was created by me and Madison. And so baby on the way. We're staying with mom and dad after this deployment, saving that money. It was, we begin to, we get married, and we're like, well, I'm now getting deployed my second time. Well, I didn't want my wife and my new kid to be staying with my parents. So it's like, we need to find a home. God had a plan, because after that first deployment, I was qualified for the VA loan. So therefore, the house that I have, we bought with the VA loan, and God had a plan and made a way. And so when we first bought this home, we just got some equipment to do the lawn, trim the hedges, things like that. And one of the things we bought was this Black & Decker weed eater. I think this is actually the second one. It's not the original first one, but it was very similar to this one. And it's just a battery-powered little weed eater that also rotates here at the handle. You guys have seen it in some of the videos. It'll rotate from weed eating to being able to go upside down to be able to trim and do edging with this. This is what I do edging with on every single one of my videos, my pictures, all the edging are like crisp lines. This bad boy is what I've been doing, using to do that. It's the kind you hit on the ground when you get string, and it spits out a couple inches of string. So it has been strong, and it just takes this simple 20 volt little battery, charges in, I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour, lithium, and it does what I need it to do. Now, by the time, since we've cut out the shrubs, the trees behind me, I edged some of that and stuff, by the time I'm done with my entire lawn, the battery, our old battery got to the point it was about dead by the time I finished edging and weed eating everything around the house and everything. And in some areas, to prevent weed eating, I've sprayed a little bit. I would go with a little spray bottle along the edge of the brick of my home with some glyphosate and just spray the edge, and that makes a nice little clean line so you don't have to weed eat against the side of your house. Just a tip. So this guy, when I got into lawn care, I'm like, okay, I got this little weenie, you know, weed eater that takes a battery. I'm in lawn care now. I need something with some teeth, and so we got this for cheap. I want to say we paid, man, I don't know, it's a Craftsman from Lowe's, I believe, maybe Home Depot. It is a gas-powered, gas and oil, just like the blower. Takes that combination. I want to say it was between 60 bucks, 70 bucks, I'm not sure. I hate that thing. I don't hardly ever use it. If we have like a church work day, I may take it and use it for that. It definitely has more power. And so we're kind of getting into the pros and cons. Well, why don't you use that, Mr. Ferguson? Number one, I took the little plastic part off here, as you can see where the head is, so that I could try to edge sideways to get over here and edge some around the concrete and stuff. Well, this thing is just so heavy after being used to this light, plasticky, Black & Decker, everything I need it to do weed eater. And so I don't even want to hold this thing. I'm going to set it down. It's heavy. The weight is the most noticeable thing between the both. The pros and cons. The con for this gas power definitely has to be the weight. It is so heavy. Now, if you're like, Mr. Ferguson, you're just being a wuss, you need to man up. I get that. But when you're comparing the two, this thing, not only will it edge, this one won't edge. Another pro and a con. My electric one, I can flip that thing around in 2 seconds. Boom, I'm edging. And I'm going at it, and I flip this on and off. You got the little safety latch here, and I'm pushing that button, and I'm going at it, weed eating, and then I let off. It's the weight. The weight. Now, the gas powered, the pros of that, you've got some power. If you just cleared out some land, you're coming in, that weed eater, it's going to take out almost anything, almost small, like trees almost, because it's got gas powered, it's got horsepower behind it. But I don't need that in a little urban house that I live in. You guys have seen my property. It's you know, 0.25 acres or whatever with the house on most of it. You're just edging around the house, you're edging around the concrete. It's just not necessary. And so even though I wasn't into lawn care and didn't really think about it much, this little Black & Decker, man, I am, if anything, I'm going to be upgrading this, maybe the Ego version or maybe another Black & Decker version, whenever it may give out on me and I've abused it and it's all dirty and filthy. But for trimming, it does what I need it to do. And that's why I just can't come to grips with buying my own stick edge or anything like that, because this little bad boy does what I needed to do. So it's just a simple video. If you're thinking about weed eaters, if you're thinking about purchasing, definitely, if you're like, I've got if you go from home to home to home to home, gas is going to be an expense. Gases went up. We see that in our culture, in our economy. The prices are going up. They're not going down. Our government's tapping into the strategic oil reserves, and we're dropping and dropping and dropping. And when that runs out, gas is really going to skyrocket whenever that may happen. So that is definitely a factor. Lithium batteries, as some have said, these lithiums have come a long way. However, if you guys are fans of the channel and you've watched, even with my backpack sprayer taking a lithium battery much like this, I've had issues where if you leave it out in the cold in your shed during cold times, on accident, it can drain the battery. You go to spray on a day maybe when you're overseeding or whatever, and you're like, crap, I left it in, you're screwed, you're stuck, you can't do your work. However, if you're running gas, or if you had somehow had a gas-powered backpack sprayer, you'd be able to do whatever you want. So there's so many pros and cons. List yours below. But for me, I am content and very happy and to use my little electric weed eater and edger. It does both of what I need in one, whereas this horsepower-driven, bulky, heavier, not able to edge as well weed eater from Craftsman that I paid 60, 70, 80 bucks for, I can't recall, I wasted my money. I don't use it. I really need to just donate it to my church because they could use it more, even though they don't have a lot of weed eating. But what are your thoughts below? Let me know. Batteries have really come a long way. I laughed at that before, like, I ain't using a battery-powered, weak little wussy, weed eater like that. That ain't gonna chop and do what my little Black & Decker, man, they really have put some power in it that it goes a long way, and it's not bad. But anyways, just a topic I wanted to talk about. It's not really informative to help you make a decision, but if you are thinking about, man, I need to upgrade my weed eater, I would strongly look at the electric and the battery powered. I think it has what you need it to do. If you're in an area, in a setting like me, and you're not needing it for bulky things, woods, you know, twigs, major horsepower things, you consider the Ego, consider the Black & Decker, the other models. If you're needing something bulkier, if you need something and you just want to rely on that fuel, it's an added expense, but you'll never be, as long as you got gas, you'll never be stuck if your batteries die. You can do what you need to do at any point. You can start it up and go. However, with the batteries, if they do die on you, you got to wait till you recharge until you can go at it again, like we talked about with the sprayer. So there are pros and cons. This is not a comprehensive list. I just wanted to bring something to think about. Let me know where you stand on this. Are you anti-battery power tools? Your man card will be taken if you use battery power tools. Are you always going to be pro-gas? Are you anti-gas? Are you getting older? The weight, it's wearing on you. Like, you know, I don't know if we'll ever get to the point where we have battery powered aerators. That'll be a sight to see for sure. But let me know, have you turned against the fuel? Are you still like, whatever I need for the job? That's kind of what I look at. If the job requires more horsepower, I've got this guy to be able to take out and weed eat whatever we need. If we're just trimming and doing a normal work around the home, I got my battery powered. So just wanted to bring those thoughts to you today. Let me know your thoughts below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this Monday. I hope to have a midweek quickie out on the vlog channel. Check that out. We've been doing some interesting content. I'm going to be doing part 2 of Can the Living Speak with the Dead? I think we're going to touch on some more part 2 of that, but check that out. We got some interesting things happening on the vlog channel, and then we'll try to be back here next Friday with another lawn care video. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy your week. We'll see you on the next lawn care video.